And the bail commissioner noted that Watson has a criminal history that dates back 22 years.
17 priors, multiple convictions.
This is the story of Perrie Mason, a 49-year-old woman who was brutally killed by her boyfriend, Jason Watson. Her remains were found burnt and cut up near her boyfriend's workplace. She was in love with someone who turned out to be her worst nightmare. Her boyfriend even bought stuff to hide the evidence. Turns out, he had a history of violence. Hello and welcome to Twisted Crimes. Subscribe and hit the like button for more stories. Perrie Mason was born in September 1970 in Hawaii, a place of beauty. Her dad, Victor King Mason, dreamed of her becoming a part of the law world, just like in the old TV show, Perrie Mason. So, growing up under the Hawaiian sun, she felt that connection to her heritage. As she grew, Perrie followed that path her dad set for her and ended up working as a court reporter for Connecticut's judicial branch. Perrie had a rich life, achieving lots both personally and professionally. She wasn't just a hard-working court reporter but also ran her own business, Lavish Lashes LLC in Meriden, Connecticut. She showed real grit and drive with that. Her love for her two sons was what kept her going, giving her life meaning and happiness. Friends and family knew Perrie as a gentle, caring person who put her kids and business first. She was someone you could count on, always there for her loved ones. Moving to Meriden, Connecticut was a big deal for Perrie. She did it to start fresh with Jason Watson, who's been living there for ages. She was determined to achieve her goals, but fate had other plans for her. Perrie, a caring mom who also ran her own business, decided to make a fresh start by moving to Meriden, Connecticut. She did this to be with Jason Watson, a guy from the area. It was a significant move for her, hoping for a better future. Initially, things looked promising for Perrie and Jason. They appeared happy together, enjoying their new life. However, not everything was as it seemed. Despite their initial happiness, problems soon surfaced. Their relationship hit a rough patch, and tensions escalated. The situation worsened after they had a serious argument. The fight turned ugly, leading to a violent outcome. This incident marked the end of Perrie and Jason's relationship, leaving Perrie to face her new life in Meriden alone, with the added challenge of handling the aftermath of their split. Watson choked Perrie during an argument a couple of days later. Perrie's sister, Veo Horlback, got texts from her showing the injuries from the attack. In August 2019, Perrie Mason, a married mother of two, suddenly went missing. This turned into a horrifying situation when her search led to a shocking discovery. Her remains, which had been burnt and cut up, were found near Bay State Textiles, close to where her boyfriend, Jason Watson, worked. The gruesome nature of her death left the whole town of Meriden deeply disturbed. The brutality of the discovery shook everyone up, especially Perrie's family. It was an incredibly tough time for them and the entire community as they tried to come to terms with the horrific details of her death. The tragic event brought a lot of sadness and fear to the people of Meriden, affecting everyone connected to the case. Jason was escorted from their Meriden home in handcuffs, though he wasn't officially charged yet. However, he was the main suspect in Perrie's death. Perrie's sister, Val Horbach, talked to Fox 61. She was looking after Perrie's two kids, letting them know their mom was missing and might not be back for a while. It was tough for Val to keep a smile for the kids, but she got help from family. Val understood there were two families hurting because of this. She held no grudges against anyone involved. Perrie Mason's colleagues from work shared their love for her. She worked as a court reporter in Hartford, and they considered themselves like a family. They spent a lot of time together and had each other's backs. Despite not being related, they felt close to her. They remembered her always smiling, and they'd keep remembering her that way. As for Perrie's kids, her family started to sort out custody with DCF. But her sister had plans to take care of the boys. The investigation uncovered some chilling evidence. Surveillance footage and cell phone records showed Perrie's car at Bay State Textiles, where Jason worked. Jason posted a picture of them together, saying how much he missed her. It's like he was hiding his true intentions behind a mask of affection. As the investigation progressed, they dug into the evidence. DNA samples tied Jason to the crime scene, and they tracked his every move after Perrie went missing. They saw him buying stuff that ended up being used to get rid of her body. It was like connecting the dots, showing without a doubt that he was involved in the awful crime. The evidence left no room for doubt. It painted a clear picture of his guilt. It's hard to even think how someone could do something so cruel. But the truth always comes out in the end, and in this case, it pointed straight at Jason.
Months ago, a woman disappeared disappeared from Meriden, and days later her body was found. Her boyfriend at the time was charged with some unrelated domestic violence charges, at least unrelated to the death. That has changed. Today he is due in court accused of her murder. Fox 61's Ashley Afonso is live with the latest on that. Good morning.
Hey, Tim, good morning to you. Yeah, police announced yesterday afternoon that they have charged the boyfriend of Perrie Mason, that's Jason Watson, with her murder. Now, this is after a nearly year-long investigation. Jason Watson scheduled to be arraigned here in New Haven a little later this morning on that murder charge. Perrie Mason was originally reported missing back in August of last year, days after her body was discovered at the textile facility in Waterbury, where Watson worked. Watson already facing domestic violence charges for allegedly choking Mason until she was unconscious. Mason had texted pictures of her injuries to her sister. Now, Watson has pleaded not guilty to strangulation, assault, and other charges. Again, yesterday, Meriden police announced that they were adding that murder charge for Perrie Mason's death.
In the arraignment of Jason Watson, they brought up serious charges against him. Jason, 39 years old, had been locked up since last August. Initially, he faced assault charges linked to an incident involving his girlfriend, Perrie Mason, just days before she vanished. The accusations include strangulation and violating probation, adding to his already extensive rap sheet. Perrie's burnt remains were found on August 21st at the textile business where Watson worked, leading to his arrest. Initially, he was only held for assaulting Perrie. However, thanks to tips from Perrie's sister, the police dug deeper.
This is the arraignment of Jason Watson, filing it in 236, the allegations of murder.
39-year-old Jason Watson has been in jail since last August, when he was hit with various assault-related charges stemming from an incident involving his 31-year-old girlfriend, Perrie Mason, days before she disappeared.
There's a strangulation second and a violation of probation, which is the third violation of probation on the underlying charge of sexual assault in the second degree.
And the bail commissioner noted that Watson has a criminal history that dates back 22 years.
17 priors, multiple convictions.
According to the arrest warrant affidavit, Perrie Mason's charred remains were discovered August 21st on the property of a textile business where Watson worked in Waterbury. Police arrested Watson that day, but only for alleged assaults of Mason, thanks to tips from her sister.
I did get a chance to read the warrant. The allegations are very disturbing.
The warrant states the medical examiner believes Mason was killed, then her body was crushed before being set on fire. But Watson's attorney claims the state's case is largely circumstantial.
There's no eyewitnesses. There appears to be some weak forensic evidence.
2 days after Ms. Mason was last seen, Watson was captured at 2 different places on their surveillance videos. First, at the Wallingford Walmart, purchasing 2 bottles of lighter fluid, and later at his employer on a day the business was closed, and he would have no reason to have been there.
Mr. Watson is looking forward to having this matter come forth in the courts and showing how he was not involved in this matter at all.
The court is going to leave the bond as set without prejudice, $3 million cash or surety.
Watson is due in court again July 17th.
In Jason Watson's defense, his attorney argued that the state's case was mainly based on circumstantial evidence. They pointed out the absence of eyewitnesses and highlighted what they deemed as weak forensic evidence. Watson's attorney emphasized his client's anticipation of clearing his name in court, asserting his innocence in the matter. 2 days after Mason was last seen, Watson was caught on camera at 2 different places. First, he was at a Walmart in Wallingford, where he bought 2 bottles of lighter fluid. Later, he was seen at his workplace, even though the business was closed that day, which made people wonder why he was there. Watson has had a criminal record since 2000. His record includes past charges for domestic violence and sexual assault. This history raises more questions about his actions and involvement in Mason's disappearance. The court made a decision to keep the bond the same, set at $3 million in cash, with no changes made. Watson was scheduled to come back to court on July 17. Even though his lawyer argued that he couldn't afford the bond, the judge decided to stick with the original amount. Additionally, the judge ordered Watson to keep his distance from Perrie's 2 sons. This decision was based on the seriousness of the charges against Watson and the circumstances surrounding the case. The judge felt it was important to maintain a high bond to ensure Watson would appear in court and to protect the community. The protection order specifically meant that Watson was not allowed to have any contact with Perrie's sons, ensuring their safety during the ongoing legal process. At the age of 41, Watson faced serious charges including strangulation, assault, unlawful restraint, and disorderly conduct. He pleaded guilty on November 27 and received his sentence on the following Monday. The medical examiner's office concluded that the cause of death was homicidal violence and officially ruled it as a homicide. This outcome is grim for everyone involved and marks the end of a tragic chapter. The severity of the charges and the final ruling on the cause of death bring some closure to the case, although it is a very tough situation for all parties affected. Aftermath and family's reaction. Perrie's murder left her family, friends, and the community in shock and deep sadness. They held a vigil to honor her memory. At the vigil, everyone remembered her as a loving and gentle person who did not deserve to die. This tragic event brought people together to mourn and reflect on her life. No amount of punishment could ever bring back Perrie Mason.
No words. The gratitude that I feel, it can't be explained. There's no words to say.
No words to say thank you. Perrie Mason's sister, Val Horback, overwhelmed with the community support since the disappearance of her sister, 31-year-old Perrie Mason. Just recently, the family hit with the devastating news. Perrie's remains were found in the woods near Bay State Textiles in Waterbury, where her ex-boyfriend Jason Watson worked.
She was a shining light to those who knew her, her life a symbol of hope and inspiration. Even though she's gone, her impact lives on, reminding us all of how precious life is and the tragic toll of violence. Our deepest condolences to the family of Perrie Mason. May her soul continue to rest in peace.